We're in a haze of Mystery Mondays. In a daze. Mystery Mondays. Mystery Fun Days.
It's so much fun.
Am I in space or in a forest? I cannot tell, but I'm enchanted nonetheless with this acoustic and synth. It's sending me to places previously unexplored, and I've adored them. And I've adored them. Mystery Mondays, I'm in a daze. Mystery Fun Days. What will we encounter today in this mystery? Will it be a troll, a vulgar man or a fairy? Creatures of the unknown, cryptids made of bone. One thing's for sure, I adore them. I adore them with Mystery Mondays.
Nice. Oh, no, I need those.
New dimension because of the synth.
Welcome, Akai Professional.
Oh, welcome, Akai Professional to Mystery
What a
Mondays.
lovely, thanks to Calum's little daughter Evie.
Yep, for lending us the Akai Professional, her Akai Professional MPK mini play. I have to say, expert synth percussion there by Drew, leading us in today.
That was amazing. I felt like I was
fun.
in a Nintendo game or something.
Yeah.
Man. That was amazing.
So I didn't know if I was like in outer space or in like a little enchanted forest or what. But either way, welcome to Mystery Mondays, everybody. Thanks for chilling here with us. It's Drew's turn to bring us a mystery today. As always, those of us that aren't reading out the mystery, in this case, myself and Bullwinkle, do not know what the mystery is going to be. So I'm excited to find out what it is. So let's get into it.
Oh,
We've got some mysterious ambience. We are re-entering now the Enchanted Woods.
Oh, what does this remind me of?
wow.
Some film.
Alice in
from a
Wonderland. That's what it reminds me a little bit of for some reason.
You are taken on a tale across a land of enchanted mirrors.
Land of Enchanted Mirrors, where your reflection may bring you truth or disaster.
It is. It's one of those like you can just imagine this music with a narrator talking
Fully.
on top.
Bit of a fairy tale kind of film.
But like a twisted fairy tale.
Esmeralda was a fine young woman.
Until the day her uncle came.
Literally.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that's bad. No, let's
that's alright. It's funny.
let's pick things up a little bit.
No, it was funny. It was funny. So, Drew, take it away with our mystery of today.
So, today we've spoken a little bit about it on the pod before.
Oh, cool.
But I've wanted to like go a bit deeper into it, and
Elaborate.
we're not going super deep into it
Not
today,
balls
but
deep.
it's just a few of the stories of the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, the Bermuda Triangle, that
Yes.
magnetism wonderland.
The vortex of wonder,
Yes.
some may say.
The place
Yes.
where God forgot.
Oh.
I like it, but you win.
You win. Yeah, man. Like it's always interested me. I like the stories from Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought we'd learn a little bit about it.
Oh yes.
Going back from around 1881
Ooh,
is the
sassy.
first story.
Nice.
To like the mid 90s.
Nice.
So yeah, just a cover of five mysterious disappearances of Bermuda Triangle.
The Furious Five.
The Furious
As they
Five
have become known as.
is what we're gonna deal with today.
Right.
So, the Bermuda Triangle has been synonymous with strange happenings and mysterious disappearances since the discovery of the Americas. Also known as the Devil's Triangle, the stretch of ocean between Miami, Bermuda, and Costa Rica is a unique part of the Atlantic Ocean in that it has been the site of more than 50 mysterious disappearances over the last century. Not marked on any commercial maps, the infamous area of mystery is speculated to sit somewhere between 500,000 and 1.5 million square miles of open water.
Not marked on any commercial
No,
maps.
so
That's
it's
pretty
known,
crazy.
like it's a real weird area, but no one's ever defined it on maps. Myths and it's pretty crazy. 50 in the last 100 years.
Yeah,
wow.
So
that's
we're
mental.
going further back than 100 years.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, myths and legends of the area aren't just limited to recent history. Rumours of Christopher Columbus experiencing difficulty with compass navigation and ghost lights date back to the 15th century. What remains unanswered, however, is what is causing so many disappearances. Some have blamed fierce weather conditions or freak natural disasters, while others have turned to the supernatural to provide answers. Whatever the reason, there are still countless disappearances that leave experts and internet sleuths scratching at their heads and asking what really happens in the Bermuda Triangle. Here are 5 of the eeriest and most frustrating disappearances that remains unsolved today. So, we're going to start with Ellen Austin. In 1881, the Ellen Austin set off from Liverpool, destined for New York. Carrying passengers emigrating to America, the ship had been at sea for several weeks when the captain took an unplanned shortcut through the Sargasso Sea. Known for its stormy nature, this route led the Ellen Austin through the Bermuda Triangle. Shortly into the detour, the captain sighted another vessel sailing erratically into the distance. The ship appeared abandoned and was moving unpredictably. Convinced that it was some form of trap, Captain Griffin and the Ellen Austin kept a safe distance for 2 days before ordering a crew to go aboard and investigate why the ship wasn't responding to their hails. Hail!
Nice.
The unnamed schooner.
Schooner.
Yeah. What does that mean?
It's a boat.
I've not seen that before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the unnamed schooner was found to be abandoned with an intact cargo. There was no sign of violence and no indication that there had been a reasonable excuse to abandon the ship. Captain Griffin ordered a small selection of his crew to captain the ship, and that they set sail together to New York, where it would be salvaged. Shortly after reassuming their journey, a heavy storm separated the two ships. When the storm passed and Captain Griffin once again sighted the mysterious ship, he pulled up alongside it and found that once again it was abandoned with no sign of bloodshed or reasonable damage.
Whoa. That's cool. That's cool.
Weird,
Mysterious.
Yeah,
really
so
weird.
his crew that he'd put on there to look after it were just gone as well.
That's really
And all
weird,
the
man.
cargo was still there. Whether too scared to lose yet more crew or pressed for time and resources, Captain Griffin opted to leave the ship adrift and continue to New York. The ship and its makeshift crew were never sighted again.
Whoa.
Damn.
So yeah, see you later, ship. So that was the first one.
Whoa, that's
First-
crazy.
You'd be a little bit
in
creeped out
1881.
anyway, wouldn't you, if you just turned up and this boat was abandoned and you'd be like, I wouldn't want to be the one that has to go and get on this ghost ship.
Yeah, you
Unless
feel
the
like
cargo was banging and they were like, oh yeah, let's get this back.
Yeah.
Splits it, go 50-50.
finders keepers, mate.
Finders
Losers
keepers.
weepers.
Losers weepers, geezer.
Yeah. Especially I can imagine getting on the ship and just this music was just playing, but from an undisclosed source.
That's it.
From under the water.
Yeah.
I like how the music's gotten a little bit more positive as well.
Has
Since
it?
the start, I feel. It's still
It's
mysterious.
exactly
but
the same,
it's
isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe
man.
that's just my head.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure, unless I'm mistaken, that it's exactly the same as it was.
In my head, it's really positive now.
That's like power of psychology, mate. Wait. So
Still
this is what
pretty
it's
freaky
like
to me.
now. This is what it was like at the beginning.
Oh my god.
I'll go back to where we were.
Back to
So,
Bermuda.
story number 1.
So that was story
Done.
number 1.
The story of the mysterious
Ellen
schooner.
Austen. Yeah, the schooner.
The schooner of
Traversed
Doom.
the seas. So next one is USS Cyclops.
Oh.
On
From Greek mysterious mythological beast
Mysterion.
to the Bermuda Triangle.
I just want to make sure. Yeah, cool. Sorry, guys. So on
Drew
the
himself was lost
I
in
was
the
lost
Bermuda
in
Triangle
time.
then.
Yes.
Lost in time. So on the 4th of March, 1918. So we've gone a few years forward, 40 years or so. Collier USS
Dunno.
Cyclops. That must be another name for a boat as
Oh,
well.
right. I haven't
Collier.
heard that one.
USS Cyclops set sail destined for Baltimore,
Oh, yeah.
Maryland. With no scheduled stops along her route, she was due to arrive in port with a full load of manganese ore on the 13th of March. However, the ship never arrived at her intended destination.
Oh dear.
The last transmission received from the ship reported that weather fair, all well, and the lack of any wreckage or SOS message has led many to speculate what might have caused the ship and her crew to vanish somewhere in the 9-day window. To this day, the disappearance of the USS Cyclops and her crew of 305 remains the largest recorded loss of life in US naval history.
Whoa.
Damn.
That's pretty crazy.
That
isn't it?
is crazy.
So it's just a 9-day window and just 305 crew, nothing ever found. Yeah.
And no, never any transmission sent, even saying that they were in
distress or anything.
That's what makes it seem so crazy is that they never seem to have a moment where you look back and you're like, oh, it's kicking off.
Yeah.
It seems to always just be like, oh, they're gone.
Yeah, it's weird because I know I have heard that apparently from what scientists could observe, there's something crazy
Magnetic.
going with electromagnetism in the Bermuda Triangle. So they're saying that could explain why because apparently a lot of pilots.
I remember hearing it was in hexagon shaped clouds or something they always get over
Really?
there. I don't know why.
Hexagon-shaped
Yeah,
clouds?
something like hexagon shaped storms.
I've
in the
never heard
Bermuda
of that.
Triangle.
I know that a lot of pilots say that when they fly into the Bermuda Triangle, basically they're what's the word I'm looking for? Their compasses and stuff, and their
I've
radar
got
just
a
go
cool one
haywire.
for that as well.
Oh, nice.
There's one of those coming up. So this one is called Witchcraft,
Oh,
and the Witchcraft was
nice.
a 23-foot luxury cruiser that disappeared on the evening of the 22nd of December 1967.
woo.
So a bit further on in history as well. So we're getting to normal times now. Not normal times. That's still quite far. Yeah, but so
Modern times. More
Yes.
modern than we were
more
previously.
modern than we were
We are
on the last
traversing
story.
history.
The boat's owner had invited his close friend out onto the ocean to look at the Christmas lights over the waters of Miami. The plan was to go on a short distance out to sea, switch the engine off, and enjoy the scenery. At 9 p.m. that night, Miami Coast Guards received a distress call that calmly informed them that the boat had hit something in the water and would require a tow from less than a mile offshore, so not very far at all. The owner indicated that this wasn't an emergency and that they would fire a flare to let the Coast Guards know of the boat's exact location. Less than 20 minutes later, the Coast Guards reached the point where they believed that the call had been made, but there was no sign of the Witchcraft or the flares. Neither the Witchcraft nor her 2 passengers were ever seen again.
Whoa.
And it didn't even say what they hit. They just said
they hit something in the water, but
that
it wasn't
that makes it creepy in itself. What did they hit? Cthulhu. They hit the Dark Lord
Yeah,
Cthulhu.
man. That's what it's getting.
High
tiered under
priestess of the Elder Gods. I mean, high priest. He's not a priestess. He's just like Cthulhu in a little frock. Yeah.
That's cool.
So the next one, so that was a nice little short one there.
Yeah, that was cool though. That was cool.
Flight 19 PBM Mariner.
Oh yeah.
So perhaps the most notorious of disappearances in the Triangle, the fate of Flight 19 and PBM Mariner has left even the greatest minds reaching for answers. When Flight 19, a group of 5 Avenger torpedo bombers, took off from Fort Lauderdale on the 5th of December 1945, they had expected their 3-hour bombing journey to be just as uneventful as the runs that they had done countless times before. So shortly after dropping their payload of replica bombs, the patrol began to run into trouble. Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, an experienced pilot, believed that his compass has started to malfunction.
Ooh.
And that Flight 19 had been flying in the wrong direction. Concerned, Taylor contacted another Navy flight instructor who was flying close to the Florida coast. With the weather getting increasingly worse, Taylor went against protocol of pointing a lost plane towards the setting sun. Believing that they were somewhere over Florida Keys, Taylor adjusted the heading in an attempt to navigate the Gulf of Mexico. Sensing Taylor's mistake, some of his men challenged his decision to continue northeast and convinced him to turn tail and head back westward. For reasons unknown, however, he once again turned the flight back around, still concerned that they were somewhere over the Gulf. As the flight flew further away from land, their transmissions became fainter and fainter. Having flown for more than their allotted time, the crew was starting to get concerned that they wouldn't be able to correct their navigation before they ran out of fuel. In his final transmission, Taylor told his men that once the first plane dropped below 10 litres of fuel, they would all ditch together for a greater chance of rescue. A few short minutes later, the transmission ended. Certain that the flight had ditched into the ocean, the Navy immediately launched a search and rescue effort. 2 Mariner flying boats were scrambled to search for the missing Flight 19. However, 20 minutes after taking off, one of the other mariners disappeared off the radar.
What?
Yeah.
What? That's creepy, man.
Neither the 13 crewmen, 5 pilots of Flight 19, nor the wreckages of any of the aircraft were ever recorded.
Whoa. We're all recovered.
Recovered, sorry.
Yeah.
Recovered.
Whoa,
yeah.
That's mad.
So that's five like jet planes.
So just not
like
a trace of any of them.
And then one of the mariners
One of the big,
as well.
yeah.
Search planes.
Imagine how terrified you'd be if you were on that other Mariner where, like, you've just heard that this plane's gone over the Bermuda Triangle, it's been lost, and you and another boat have gone out, and the other boat has now been lost too. You'd be like,
although
God.
you obviously don't want to be in their shoes, at the same time, it's almost like intriguing to think that, like, you know, you wish that almost like you could
step
like,
into another portal.
Yeah, it's almost like be there just for like a split second if you had the power to like teleport
fly
or
on
something.
the boat.
Yeah, just to like see actually what happened.
Yeah,
because it just seems so strange.
That's crazy.
It does make you feel, because there is this whole, like, this triangle in the water where no one can, like, map. Multiple ships and planes have been lost, and like you were saying, it like just ruins the radar. It makes you feel a little bit like there is something under the water, doesn't it? There's like that creepy feeling that there could be something lurking beneath the depths.
Yeah, it definitely seems like like under the water or something, because it's like it's just in the middle of the sea, isn't it? And it's like, there's nowhere to land on the water, so you're going down, you're gonna get sucked into it.
Sucked down into a whirlpool.
It's crazy. So right, the last one is a bit of a weird one. It's about a lighthouse. So it's the Great Isaac Lighthouse. Unlike other disappearances, the Great Isaac Lighthouse mystery is unique in that both lighthouse keepers were stationed on land when they vanished. A barren island, Great Isaac Rock, already had a grim history. Local lore told of a ship that wrecked with no survivors except for a single infant, first put into service in the mid 1800s. The lighthouse housed the island's only 2 inhabitants, its keepers.
That's creepy in itself, that a boat turned up shipwrecked with only an infant on the ship left.
Yeah, they say about that island that this lighthouse is on. So it's just a very small little island in the Bermuda Triangle. On the 4th of August 1969, a small boat was launched to check on the lighthouse. Routine calls had gone unanswered. Upon arrival, the investigators discovered that the island was empty and there were no sign of the 2 guardians. A hurricane had passed over the island shortly before, but the lack of damage to the living quarters raised the questions as to why 2 experienced lighthouse keepers wouldn't have stayed put where they were the safest in their like quarters and stuff. Others believe that the pair were caught in a drug smuggling ring, or perhaps they were both kidnapped. But with no evidence of foul play to suggest anything outward, the fate of both keepers remains a mystery.
Whoa, that's cool. That's cool.
So that was the 5 Bermuda Triangle stories.
That was good,
from
man.
old to new that are a bit strange.
Food for thought.
I searched up that little hexagonal
cloud
thing that
there.
I was reading. It is a thing apparently. They said
is it?
hexagonal clouds over Bermuda Triangle are like bombs and can cause ships and plane wrecks. Although I saw another one that was saying that it doesn't actually explain why the Bermuda Triangle is as deadly as it clearly is.
All right.
So still a bit of a mystery then.
Yeah, I've heard I can't remember them like the stories clearly, but I have heard some other weird tales of like the Bermuda Triangle. I remember I heard this one about like a pilot who said he like flew into a cloud, and like he could tell when he was flying into the cloud that it wasn't a very big cloud, but then it just sort of like went on forever, and it like everything like about like the normal environment on like Earth suddenly like changed.
I think I've heard this story as well.
What
really
do you mean?
Rings a bell.
Like even like
weird.
the colours of everything and the way like the normal like laws of physics just like almost like changed.
Whoa.
And then apparently he was in it for like half an hour, and then suddenly things just went back to normal, and he just like flew out of the cloud as if like nothing had ever happened.
Makes you feel like it is like a portal to a weird place, doesn't it?
It is weird, yeah.
That's what I like to think.
It's strange that there are like these like strange places in. I mean, I know it's not exactly the same, but you know they say about like ley lines and that as well. How it's almost like all the most like sacred sites on the planet almost like line up in like a perfect line. That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, man, it's so crazy. I think it's almost
Might
like the energetic veins of the Earth, and all the sites that are on completely opposite sides of the Earth are like kind of along these routes and
still
stuff.
linked.
Yeah,
so crazy.
That's
like
a real cool way to put
they-
it as well. The energetic veins of the Earth, because that is what it's like. It feels like
that's
it
what
is
it
like a
reminded me
hive of
of. I
like
was
veins
like,
and everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah.
I remember at this festival I was at as well, there was this guy that did dowsing. Have you heard of dowsing before?
Dowsing rods.
So you've got like 2 like copper dowsing
right,
rods.
yeah,
and you
I
go
know
around
the
and
one,
it-
yeah.
and they actually, you can like become like a professional dowser. And he actually, companies would pay him like a hell of a lot of money to use his dowsing skills to figure out where underground water rivers were and things like that, because they'd need to drill down into them.
Right.
So they would actually like do these like multi-thousand-pound projects and drill into the earth based on where this dowsing guy said that there's going to be a thing down there, like on his like dowsing rod, because they go into a cross when
Yeah.
and it was just, I didn't like, it was just crazy, like didn't believe him, but he was talking about like energies of the earth and stuff, and like how it basically will tell you magnetically where certain things are and stuff. And it was really interesting. We were like walking across the field, and you know, and he was saying that like in towns and cities where there's like blockages, or that there's things aren't like aligned properly, there'll be a lot more like stabbings and a lot more like dark things and robberies happen and stuff like that. And I was like, that's pretty mad.
That's creepy. Like literally pretty much verifying if what he is saying true, that verifies that there is like bad energies to places and stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
It was interessant. Like, yeah, he uses it for the water things, but then he started talking about like the energetic stuff as well, and it was like very interesting.
Yeah, 100%.
This is quite interesting. So it says like history of ley lines. People have often found special significance in the unusual landmarks and geological features surrounding them. High mountain peaks and majestic valleys may be viewed as sacred, while deep dark caves have often been considered the domain of the underworld. The same is true for roads. In the 1800s on the British Isles, many people believed in mysterious fairy paths or trails connecting certain hilltops in the countryside. It was considered dangerous, or at the very least unwise, to walk on those paths during certain days, because the wayward traveller might come upon a parade of fairies who would not take kindly to the human interruption. Philip Core Gom and Richard Haygate described the origin of ley lines in their book of English Magic. Alfred Watkins, a landscape photographer in Herefordshire, noticed that ancient sites seemed to be aligned with others nearby. His idea was that our ancestors built and used prominent features in the landscape as navigation points. These features included prehistoric standing stones and stone circles, barrows and mounds, hill forts and earthworks, ancient moats, old pre-Reformation churches, old crossroads and fords, prominent hilltops and fragments of old straight tracks. Watkins went on to suggest that the lines connecting these ancient sites represented old trackways or routes that were followed in prehistoric times for the purposes of trade or religious rites, and in 1921 he coined the term ley lines to describe these mystical alignments. Cool. It does go on to say though that like from like a scientific perspective, like they are not considered like real things like ley lines. It says you won't find ley lines discussed in geography or geology textbooks because most scientists don't think that they are actual real measurable things. It says though scientists can find no evidence of ley lines, they can be detected by magnetometers or any other scientific device. New Age's psychics and others claim to be able to sense or feel the energy of ley lines. Watkins' original idea of ley lines is quite valid and rather intuitive. Archaeologists have long known that on a local and regional scale, roads tend to be built in more or less straight lines, geography allowing, and since a line is the shortest distance between 2 points, it makes sense that important sites in a given culture would often be aligned. Oh yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is true or not. What I thought was interesting, so it was like if you take the sacred sites across the world, was it like if you put an
I thought it literally made like a circumference around the world,
and they were all kind of along this line. That's what I thought.
Funnily enough, it says about this in the next paragraph. So it says ley line experts cannot agree on which sacred sites should be included as data points. Some internationally known ancient sites are obvious choices, such as England's Stonehenge, Egypt's Great Pyramids, Peru's Machu Picchu, and Australia's Ayers Rock. But on a regional and local level, it's anyone's game. How big but it doesn't actually say if it actually is or not.
I want to look
that was always what I thought, was that it was like
around the world.
All the crazy unexplained things that we literally don't have an explanation for are all linked in this like crazy circumference around the world. Which,
if it was, then that'd be mental, wouldn't it? That'd be so like crazy.
Because they're meant to most of them are meant to line up with like the stars and stuff, aren't they? Quite a lot of these ancient things.
Well, the pyramids are,
yeah, and it's amazing as well. Like some of the sacred sites and temples, because it was all to do with like the solstices and things, like when the sun would be coming up at a certain point, at a certain time in the year.
The summer solstice with the Stonehenge.
It
would
would shine into a specific part, and there's even some that would like light up the space for like a few minutes, whenever that happened for a year. So the whole temple was built, and it only got lit up naturally for like a few minutes in a year. And like, how did they? It was more like how they understood how to build something like that in connection with the wider stars and like the wider alignments. That's what 100%. I thought was like really interesting about some of those ones.
Definitely.
But it all seems to be like an honouring of the natural cycles of the earth and stuff.
Yeah.
There's quite a cool one if you want to show. Put the computer up for everybody watching on YouTube, and this one's called St. Michael's Ley, and it's St. Michael's ley line. Follows the path of the sun on the 8th of May. To be honest, I'm not going to lie, I don't 100% know what that means, but yeah, it's St. Michael's ley line, and it seems to go from right down in Cornwall, right up in a straight line from like southwest Cornwall all the way to sort of Great Yarmouth area on the southeast coast, and it goes through Bodmin Moor, through Tiverton, through Glastonbury Tor, right through sort of what is like in the middle of what's like Frome and Warminster and stuff, and then sort of like near Swindon and Oxford, through Luton, and sort of like through near Cambridge, right the way to Great Yarmouth. So it's quite cool. It says St. Michael's Ley has been known to be interrelated with several other prominent British megaliths through geometry, astronomy, and other apparent knowledge of longitude and latitude, not least of all to Stonehenge. Stonehenge, whilst not being a part of the St. Michael Ley, is connected with both Glastonbury and Avebury through geometry, and also forms the crossing point of several prominent ley lines.
Cool.
It'd be super cool to like walk one of the ley lines and do like a pilgrimage from like one part of England to the other. Like, I bet that's what people used to do back in the day.
Yeah, man.
Back in the day.
Faux show. Right, anything else we really want to... Anything less
Any closing
prominent?
statements?
Closing statements, anybody? Anything of prominence that you wish to include?
Don't get lost in the triangle.
Beware of the triangle, everyone.
Don't lay on the lines.
Don't lay on the
Don't
lines.
lay on the lines.
And beware of the triangles. And with that,
Yes.
we shall see you next week for another Mystery Mondays. Whatever you're doing, try and beware of mysteries. Wherever you are.